You did it, you made it, you got the job, and today is your first day in sales. Listen, I'm gonna tell you 6 things that I wish people told me when I started working in sales. But that's okay, I'm here to tell you so you learn from my mistakes and some of the things I did so that way you can also win in this career. First and foremost, before I start getting into this, my 6 tips on killing it on your first day and maybe your first month, you have to understand that this is a career. This is something that you need to constantly be challenging yourself, constantly learning, and treat this with the utmost respect, because this could change your whole life. This career could change your life, and I want you to listen to this. 2 highest people in the whole world. Number 1, visionaries. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Page, Mark Cuban. Those are visionaries. Those are the people that the marketplace gives them tremendous amounts of wealth, because that is what changes the course of humanity. Those are always going to be the top first paid people in the world. But you know what? The number 2, the second highest paid people in the world are communicators. And that's where we fall in. That's where we come in. You starting your sales job today, you're a communicator. You have the opportunity to be one of the highest paid people in the whole world. So don't take this for granted, because there's going to be times where you're going to feel like giving up. So don't give up. Today is your first day. Let's get it done. Tip number 1. You only get one chance to make a first impression. So tip number 1, you have to have a positive attitude. Smile on your face and project positive attitude. Be approachable. New salespeople always make the other salespeople a little uncomfortable. You got the job, so you sold yourself to the boss and the decision maker into hiring you. Now you need to sell yourself to the rest of the staff. And this is a blood sport, right? So you need to be friendly with everybody. There's gonna be some people that might get intimidated by you. There's going to be some people that don't like you. There's some people that have their guard up. There's just gonna be some people that just don't care. Doesn't matter. You have to have a smile on your face. This is your job. These people are going to spend more time with you than your wife, your husband, your girlfriend. You're going to spend a lot of time with these people. So you want to make sure you make a good impression, especially to those people that you feel get a little insecure with your presence, because that happens, especially if you have a certain swag to you, a certain charisma, a certain something for you. You have to win them over too. You won the boss, now you have to win the rest of the staff. Tip number 2, you have to understand that a lot of people in this career don't really want you to succeed, or they want you to do good, but not better than them. So don't think that they're gonna teach you everything from A to Z. So my tip number 2, you have to be resourceful. Be resourceful, okay? What does that mean? That means if they tell you to make 100 calls, if they give you a list of people to call, you can't find a phone, use your cell phone. All right? The computer doesn't work, take notes. You don't have a pen, you don't have this, you don't have that. Don't be asking for things.
You got a list? You got a list to call? Is there a list to call? Or am I just calling from a phone? What am I doing? Do I have a list to call?
Figure it out, man.
Okay. On the computer?
Yep, Cardone.
Okay.
All right? You're better off taking the initiative and getting things yourself, all right? And just figuring ways to make things work. That is how you're going to excel in this career. I'm one of the top producers in the company I'm in right now, but when I started working there, we didn't have we didn't have a lot of technology, right? We had spreadsheets, it was emails, and very old school. There was no Microsoft Teams, there was no Slack, there was no WhatsApp, right? I had to sort of start thinking of things and being resourceful, which is why I'm been in the same company for 4 years and I'm one of the top guys there. Right? Why? Because I'm very, very resourceful. That's one of my top skills. So you have to be resourceful and start being resourceful with yourself. You are your own business, right? You're a company within a company now. You have to constantly sell yourself. Sell yourself to the staff, to the clients, to your boss, to the providers, to the other merchants. Whatever it is that you're selling yourself. And you have to always be resourceful. Email doesn't work. I'm gonna show you an email from my personal email. The phone doesn't work. I'm gonna call you from my cell phone. I'm gonna send you a text. The call dropped. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Let me drive to you. Let me come visit you. Let me do boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? That is how you're going to stand out and also inspire people and make a really good impression with your boss. And you're gonna do what you were here to do, which is make money and make sales. Being resourceful is one of the most important things that you can do. Okay? Focus. You're better off putting your own money and buying things that you think are going to be helpful for you and then giving your receipt to your boss than telling your boss to buy it for you. Even if he doesn't want to pay for it, if you really think it's going to help in your career, buy it. A better keyboard, a wireless keyboard. Typically they give you shit, right? When you start working, they give you a shit computer, they give you a shit mouse, a shit keyboard. Everything is like secondhand from the previous salesperson before you. So if you think something's gonna help you out, put in your own money. It's okay, you're investing in yourself, right? But be resourceful. That's number 2. Number 3, this is one that is very common in most of the rest of the videos on when you start your first job. And that is, don't be afraid to ask questions. I know it sounds cliche, but don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, hey, this is the first time I'm doing this, do you mind? I learned quick, but do you mind if I just watch you? Go back to the top guy and be like, hey, sir, man, listen, do you mind if I'm just a fly on the wall for an hour? I just want to see how you do this. I just want to see how you blah, 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 you know? You have to sell yourself. Maybe buy people lunch. Buy the guy lunch and be like, do you mind if I just watch you for an hour? I just don't know how to do this part of the process. The computer system they gave me, I'm having a hard time with this. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is you can always call whoever. For example, every sales job has a point of sale system and they also have CRMs. Don't be afraid of calling the actual company and asking them how it works, right? So if you're selling and you have a terminal, like one of those Interact Visa machines, right? And you don't know something about it, at the back of it, there's a 1-800 number that you can call. Not so many people do these things. They just freak out and they're like, oh, how do I, dude, call the 1-800 number. Call the 1-800 number on the printer. Don't be asking people for little things, right? You know how many times people start working with me and the printer is jammed and they come to me for it, or the printer doesn't work on their computer, right? The printer has a 1-800 number. I'm not trying to be an asshole here. But like when you're dealing with people doing thousands of dollars of deals and you come at them with a task like my printer is not working, come on, bro. Like, this is what I mean. Be resourceful and don't be afraid to ask questions, but the questions have to be valuable questions. Think outside the box. The printer doesn't work. Call the printer company. Call the computer. You know, start figuring things out. If you're gonna ask little questions like the printer, will come up with a little bit of value and then be like, oh, by the way, my printer isn't working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's your first day and questions like that, I don't know. I mean, when I say don't be afraid to ask questions, I mean more towards the sales process, product knowledge, that sort of stuff. All right. Little things, try to avoid them and try to figure them out yourself. Tip number 4, 48 laws of power. Rule number 1, never outshine the master. 48 Laws of Power is one of my favorite books, something I read about every day. The 48 laws, I have them all here in my head. I don't really know the order of them, but rule number 1 is never outshine the master. So even if you think you're better, even if you think they're dumb, you have to finesse your way into doing things your way, but never outshine the master. Never do things to make people look stupid. Especially if it's your first day, your first week, your first month. Because these people have time invested in the company. You know what I mean? So if you outshine the master, if you try to do things better than your boss, even if you do them, it's not gonna help you, right? So you have to find the sweet spot, how you can impress them without making them look dumb, without outshining the master. We're running a marathon here. We're not sprinting. This is a team. You're joining a team, right? So you don't want to start scoring goals right away, making everybody look dumb. You want to like play with the team a little bit. Be a team player. You're going to be the star in a few months. Don't get me wrong. You're going to be the star. At the beginning, establish yourself as a team player. So don't outshine the master right away. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5. You have to adapt to the current sales culture of the place you're working at now. The sales culture it's a vibe, it's a frequency, it's kind of like the frequency how everybody operates within the organization. So if you come in with bad habits or very, very stubborn on your previous sales work, it's your first day in sales, right? So I guess this doesn't apply to you that much, but pay attention to the culture. Pay attention to the current sales culture and try to vibe with them. Try to match their energy, match their sense of humor, match how personal they get. You know, they have a way of doing things. Even if you don't like it, just try to establish yourself as a team player. Again, I said it before, do things their way. You have to be like water, my friend.
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Bruce Lee said it, right? Be like water. Adapt, okay? There's nothing worse than when somebody comes to work for us and they just, like, I can almost tell when somebody starts working with us, with the company I work for now, when they're not gonna last. It's the cold hard truth. And the number one thing, and my boss and everybody I work with will tell you this, they don't really care how much more sales you bring to the table. If you don't fit in with the sales culture, you're going to affect the rest of the staff. And most employers would rather let you go than to keep a bad apple, even if your numbers are great. You see what I'm saying? So try to match people's energy, adapt to the sales culture. That's gonna be a very important key to everything. Adapting to the current sales culture. Which brings me to tip number 6. Tip number 6, and that is be adaptable. In your first few months of working, you're not gonna have a say. You haven't established yourself, you haven't proven yourself, so you have to be very adaptable. What do I mean by that? That means that if your whole life you're used to using Microsoft and you're used to using spreadsheets for using Excel, well, and your company now uses Google Sheets, or you like using WhatsApp, but they use Slack, or you like using Gmail and then they use Outlook, and you're just like, no, but I like my work. No, you have to be adaptable. If you have a mindset of A, B, and C, and they do it a certain way, do it their way, and once you establish yourself, you can do it your way. But at the beginning, you have to adapt to them. And this is part of selling yourself. And you understand a little bit of how people work and how sometimes you have to play in their field, little by little, lure them into your frame until you kind of call things, until you can actually make decisions. But in the meantime, you have to adapt. Listen, it's not gonna be easy. Don't give up. You're gonna have times where you feel like quitting. You're gonna have times where you feel like going back to your salary job, to your hourly paying job. I'm telling you, okay? Try to stick with this one. Try to make this one work for at least 2 years. This company. There's nothing worse than you having on your resume 3 months here, 6 months there, 8 months here. Don't forget that the owner of this company that hired you is only interested in seeing a positive return of investment on his company, right? So if you don't like something, I promise you, you can't find a way to make things work your way as long as you think that it brings value to the company. the president and the owners of the organization I work for, they have a completely different system than what I use. But because my system has made them a shit ton of money, well, they let me use it. They don't bother me. They let me do things my way. Mind you, I've been doing it for 4 years. And for the first year or two, I just put my head down and I just let the results speak for themselves. And now, dude, I have access to credit cards with like crazy unlimited limits because they have so much trust in me that when I make a decision for something that I feel is going to help the business, they just let me do it. But I put in the work, right? And trust me, even to this day, I want to quit sometimes. I just want to like, fuck this. You know, it's sales, right? So this isn't like work-life balance. Oh yeah, we're gonna do yoga in the middle of the day. This is sales, you know what I mean? But like, I have an amazing life right now. I don't really stress about bills and life is good in that sense, you know? But, you know, I put in a lot of time. But this is a good thing for you. This is a good career. You made a right decision. This is one of the few jobs that you can do where you can live in the same neighborhood as doctors and lawyers and finance people, and you're a salesperson. You can be in those neighborhoods. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. So take it very seriously and always, always, always be working. Always be learning. Every month, at least read one book on sales. There's Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort, Ryan Serhant, Gary Vee, hell, even Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, I mean, whatever. There's tons of YouTube videos out there. I mean, dude, have fun, enjoy it. Make sure you make this enjoyable for you. All right. I wish you the best of luck. And just how you start in your sales career, I'm starting this YouTube thing. All right. Why? Because I just want to. I love this. This is something I always wanted to do since I was a kid. All right. So if you like it.
So dark, can't see a thing. I hear a song of the broken beat. Give me nickel, give me dime, give me dollar, I'll give you smile.